Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to learn about the 9 parts of speech in English. These are the basic building blocks we use to make sentences. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to recognize these different parts in everyday language. Let's get started. First up, we have nouns. A noun is essentially a name for something. It can be a person, a place, a thing, or even an idea. For example, in the sentence, "The teacher went to the library to find a book about history." Here, teacher is a person, library is a place, book is a thing, and history is an idea. All of them are nouns. There are different types of nouns too. Common nouns are general names like dog or city. They don't need capital letters because they refer to any example of that thing. Proper nouns are specific names like Max or London. Notice how they always start with a capital letter because they name a particular person, place, or organization. Collective nouns name groups like team, family, or herd. Then you have concrete nouns you can touch, like table or apple, things you can experience with your 5 senses. And finally, abstract nouns for things you can't touch or see, like love, happiness, freedom, or intelligence. These name ideas, feelings, qualities, or concepts. Next, let's talk about verbs. Verbs are the action words of a sentence. They tell you what the noun is doing, but they can also show a state of being, what something is. These are the 2 main types of verbs. Action verbs, also called dynamic verbs, show physical or mental actions such as run, think, or write. Linking verbs, also called state of being verbs, describe a state or condition, like be, seem, or become. For an action verb, you could say, "The chef cooks a meal." The verb cooks is the action he is performing. Other action verbs include run, jump, write, speak, and build. They all show something happening or someone doing something. For a state of being verb, you might say, "She is happy." The verb is doesn't show action, it describes her state of being. These verbs, also called linking verbs, include words like am, are, was, were, seem, appear, feel, become, and remain. They connect the subject to more information about it rather than showing action. Verbs also change their form to show when something happens. We call this tense. I walk is present tense, I walked is past tense, and I will walk is future tense. Some verbs are irregular, like go becomes went, not goed. And don't forget about helping verbs like have, will, and can that work with main verbs to create different meanings. Now for adjectives. Adjectives are words that tell us more about a noun. They help us know what something looks like, feels like, or sounds like. Let's look at an example. He found a rusty old coin. In this sentence, the words rusty and old are adjectives. They tell us more about the coin, what kind of coin it is. Adjectives help you imagine things better by adding details. Adjectives can also help us compare things. For example, you can say big, bigger, and biggest to show size, or beautiful, more beautiful, and most beautiful to show how something looks. These words help us talk about differences between people or things. Most of the time, adjectives come before the noun they describe, like a red car or a happy child. Sometimes they come after linking verbs like is or seems. For example, the car is red or the soup tastes delicious. Our next part is adverbs. Adverbs are words that tell us more about verbs, adjectives, or even other adverbs. They answer questions like how, when, where, or how often something happens. Let's look at some examples to make this clear. First, look at this example. She sings beautifully. The word beautifully tells us how she sings. Instead of just saying she sings, we know she sings in a lovely way. That's what the adverb adds. It gives us more detail about the action. Here's another one. He arrived yesterday. In this sentence, yesterday tells us when he arrived. So, adverbs can help us answer the question of time, not just how something happens. Let's try a different question. The kids are playing outside. The word outside tells us where the kids are playing. So adverbs can also tell us about place, not just how or when. And here's one more. She always smiles. All. The word always tells us how often she smiles. So adverbs can even talk about frequency, how often something happens. You might notice that many adverbs end in ly, like quickly, slowly, or happily. But not all adverbs do. Words like yesterday, outside, and always are also adverbs. The main thing is that adverbs help make sentences clearer and more interesting by adding details about actions or descriptions. They help your listener picture exactly what you mean. Our next part is prepositions. Prepositions are words that show the relationship between a noun or pronoun and another word in the sentence. They often tell us about place, time, or direction. Let's look at a few examples to see how prepositions work in real sentences. For example, the cat is under the table. Here, the word under tells us exactly where the cat is. Instead of just saying the cat is by the table, we know the cat is beneath it. That's the job of a preposition. It gives us a clear picture of the relationship between things. Here are some other common prepositions you'll hear all the time: in, on, at, over, between, and beside. For instance, you might say, the book is on the desk, or she sat between her friends. Each preposition gives us a different kind of detail about place or position. Prepositions are usually followed by a noun or pronoun. Together, they make what's called a prepositional phrase, like on the roof or after lunch. These phrases help us answer questions about where, when, or how something happens. For example, we'll meet after lunch tells us when, and the ball rolled under the car tells us where. Our next part is pronouns. Pronouns are words we use instead of repeating nouns. They make sentences shorter and less repetitive. Let's see how pronouns make our sentences smoother and less repetitive. For example, instead of saying Sarah likes Sarah's book, we say she likes her book. Here, she and her are pronouns that replace Sarah. This way, we don't have to keep repeating the same name, and the sentence sounds more natural. There are many other pronouns you'll use every day, like I, you, he, it, we, they, me, him, us, and them. For example, instead of saying the students finished the students' homework, you can say they finished their homework. They and their are pronouns that stand in for the students. Pronouns help us talk about people or things without repeating the same words over and over. They make our conversations and writing much easier to follow. Our next part is conjunctions. Conjunctions are words that join other words, groups of words, or sentences together. They help ideas flow smoothly. Let's see how conjunctions help our ideas flow together. For example, I wanted to go out, but it was raining. The word but connects two ideas and shows a contrast. Instead of two short sentences, I wanted to go out, it was raining. We use but to join them and show the relationship between the ideas. Other common conjunctions are and, or, so, and, because. For example, she likes tea and coffee, joins two things she likes, and you can have cake or ice cream gives a choice, so shows a result, like he was tired, so he went to bed. Because explains a reason, like she stayed home because she was sick. Conjunctions help us combine ideas and make our sentences less choppy. They're like bridges that connect our thoughts and make our speech and writing smooth. Our next part is interjections. Interjections are short words or phrases that show strong feelings or emotions. They are often used on their own. Let's see how interjections add feeling and energy to our words. For example, wow, that's amazing. The word wow shows surprise or excitement. It stands alone and lets us know exactly how the speaker feels in that moment. Other interjections include ouch for pain, yay for excitement, oops for mistakes, and hey to get someone's attention. Each one adds a burst of emotion to what we're saying. Interjections are usually followed by an exclamation mark and help express how we feel in the moment. They're quick, direct, and make our conversations more lively and real. Our last part is determiners. Determiners are words we use before nouns to give more information about which one, how many, or whose. They help us be specific and clear in our sentences. Let's look at some examples of determiners in action. First, articles a, an, and the. For example, the dog is barking. Here, the tells us we're talking about a specific dog. A dog would mean any dog, not a particular one. Next, demonstratives this, that, these, and those. For example, this book is interesting, or those apples are fresh. These words point out which things we mean. We also have possessive determiners, my, your, his, her, its, our, and their. For example, my friend is here, or their house is big. These show who something belongs to. And don't forget quantifiers like some, many, few, every, and all. For example, many people like pizza, or every student passed the test. These words tell us about quantity or amount. Determiners always come before a noun, and they help us be clear about what or how much we're talking about. Without them, our sentences would be confusing. And that's a wrap on the 9 parts of speech. From nouns that name things to determiners that help us be specific, every word has a role. Understanding these roles is a huge step toward mastering English because it helps you build better sentences and communicate more clearly. Thanks so much for tuning in. Keep practicing and try to notice the different parts of speech as you listen, read, and speak.